Hey y'all, how are my beautiful nerds? I tried getting this out yesterday on Thursday, but life man, just life. I was feeling a little under the weather, and I don't mean like COVID under the weather. I mean like life's bad decisions under the weather. I don't want to give you like all the deets, but I just was like having migraines and stuff like that. That was caused by me literally making a bad decision and eating too much gluten yesterday. And I know that's like a total, some people are like, oh my gosh, that's so made up. Like, that's such a fad. Like, it's something that white girls created. Blah, blah, blah. But I really do. Every once in a while, like, I have a tiny gluten intolerance, not a huge one. Because shoot, if I had was like, I'm eating it anyways. I don't care, okay? Give me the bread with flavor. I will suffer through a headache. And yeah, I could not do it. I don't know how they do it. But this summer has gone by way too fast. And I feel like it just hit me that summer will be over soon. But at the same time, this is Texas and we have like 2 more months of heat. And I'm ready for it to cool down. I'm not ready for a snowpocalypse or ice apocalypse like that happened last time, but I am ready for it to cool off. It was like 104 yesterday, and I thought I was going to die. But hello. Hi. My name is Chanel, and I am the host of a Rebel podcast without an intro. So here I go. You're listening to the Nerded Texas podcast, the show that brings you useless information and fun facts about your favorite shows, actors, and fandoms. I am literally a nerd in Texas, and I talk about TV shows and movies that I have just finished binge watching or that I am excited about. If you are new to my podcast, thank you for taking the time to check out my podcast. I hope you enjoy it, and I promise not to take up too much of your time. But here's how I do things. I give Twitter 3 options, and I let them vote for my topic for the week. This time, I remembered the standings. In last place with 25% of the votes was He's All That, the remake of She's All That, and trust me, I have an opinion on it. Then with 35%, we had the Charmed reboot, and trust me, I have an opinion on that as well. Our winner with 40% is Yellowstone, so I cannot wait to dive in. If you are a returning listener, I appreciate every single one of you, and I love every single one of you. I checked out my P.O. box yesterday, and I got 2 packages. I got 2 packages from some listeners. Like, so thank you so much. I'm so greatly appreciated. I got like 3 bags of Abba Zabbas because I love Abba Zabbas, and I told the listener, not realizing that they were gonna send me like 3 bags of them. And then I'm totally gonna like hide them because I do not want my kids getting any of them. Maybe I'll share depending on if I am getting along with my kids at the moment. I also got some really cool Oracle spiritual AF cards. They are so funny and so awesome. I did a TikTok of one of them because I was so excited, and I look terrible in them. You can see where I had to use a filter because of, like I said, what I was having, like, I was feeling under the weather yesterday. It caused my cheeks, like, to get all red because I was having, like, a reaction to it, to the gluten or whatever. And so I had to use a filter to try and hide the red cheeks. But if you watch the TikTok, you'll see that I have red flushed cheeks. Anyways. So if you want to send me something, here's the thing. Yes, people send me things, but I make a deal with these people who message me, and they're like, hey, I want to send you Abba Zabbas, or I didn't know about the Abba Zabbas, but, like, hey, I want to send you this or whatever. I come up with a deal with them. If you send me something, 1, you get a shout out. If you don't want me to say who you are, I won't. And I get to send them a care package as well. So one person should be getting it soon because I shipped it out like Friday. It was kind of late Friday, so I don't know. It should be there by now. I should check the tracking. But so it's not just me receiving things. I also send care packages as well. So if you're interested, my P.O. box information is on my website. You can check that out. If not, cool, you know? I love giving care packages more than I like receiving care packages. I can't say packages. I don't know. It's just fun for me. I love putting stuff together and putting it in a box and having people surprised, and it's so cool. So instead of going on about a sponsor like Alamo Draft House and their amazing fried pickles, draft beer, and the movies, and saying something like the links for movie tickets and gift cards and movie memorabilia is in my links page, I'm going to tell you about a different podcast to check out. And this one talked about a tweet that I tweeted. So now I'm going to talk about them talking about me. It's the 8750th podcast, and they are hilarious. They are the type of dudes that I would get drunk and judge people with. But anyways, I posted a conversation on Twitter. Well, actually just a message someone sent me on Instagram, and I took a screenshot of it and I posted on Twitter. I can't find it though. And I can't find what I tweeted because it's very hard for me on Twitter and Facebook to post things without people knowing me personally and knowing my sense of humor, because I'm a very sarcastic person. So I posted on Twitter something like, "Does this really work? Asking for a friend." And then I said something else like me asking the question, and then I was like, my friend is asking. Like, I forgot what I said, and I can't find the tweet for some reason. But I posted it as a joke, and it's this guy who sent me a message, and believe it or not, I get a lot of these messages, so that's probably why I can't find it. But it's like, "I'm looking for a sugar baby, and I loved your profile picture. I will send you like $3,500 in payment," you know? So, they talked about the tweet, and they talked about me and the tweet, and, yeah, I just meant it as a joke. You'd have to personally know my, like, sense of humor, and, you know, and even if that really does work, one, I couldn't do it. That stuff like that freaks me out. This would be like, let's say I agreed to that. One, what do I have to do to be your sugar baby? Like, do I just send you an Instagram? Like, do I actually have to do something? Like, if I have a sugar daddy, do I feed it? Do I water it? Do I take it out for walks? What do I do with it? What am I, like, and to me, it just seems like a kidnapping situation. Like, I feel like if I were to agree to this would be the part of the documentary where someone comes on and says, "She was just supposed to be his sugar baby, and that's where it went wrong." You know, like, this is the part of the documentary where it's like, she just made really bad life choices. Like, you know, I don't know. I just imagine if I were to agree to something like that and they send me money or whatever, I just feel like I get kidnapped the next day. Like, I don't know. That's how my mind works. That's how that situation actually freaks me out. And I'm also the type of person where I use sarcasm and sense of humor to, like, avoid feelings. To avoid my fears, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, I'm getting completely off topic. So let's get started on Yellowstone. And then, I am warning you, Yellowstone is rated R. It has a lot of adult content such as violence, profanity, nudity, and, well, sex, but a whole lot of violence and profanity. So I do not encourage you to watch this show around your kids. I do not encourage your kids to watch it. I'm not gonna lie, I let Bailey watch a few episodes that I knew that were okay. Bailey is 13 years old. We have an agreement that if there's something that she's interested in or she wants to watch, I have to watch it first. I have to give the approval, and then she's allowed to watch it. Like, she loves Bob's Burgers, which to me, Bob's Burgers is like The Simpsons, kind of, sort of. Yeah, it has some bad. Anyways, I'm getting off track. But anyways, a lot of violence, profanity, nudity, and sex. So, I'm going to be talking about the show with no spoilers. Season 4 comes out in November, and they just released the trailer for it. And oh my OMG. OMG. That deserves a white girl OMG. Okay. With the release of the trailer, there will be a Yellowstone marathon. Remember those on TV? Before we could get things on demand, there would be marathons and you could watch like all the episodes of your favorite show. And if you missed an episode, that's when you watched it. So you could like it. Yeah. Sorry, my chair makes a lot of noise. But they're going to have a marathon starting Saturday. So starting tomorrow. I wish there was a way to have a watch party. I know there's this Google Chrome extension called Teleparty where you can do Netflix and Hulu and Disney Plus, and you can kind of do a watch party with a chat room like that. I'm not sure how I could do that with Paramount though, so we'll see. Hey nerds, you know I love helping you out, so I'm giving you a little tidbit on if you are wanting to start a podcast. I highly suggest you start it with Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast, and let me explain. 1, it's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. It would be cool to have a watch party. So, full disclosure, I had a hard time wanting to watch this show. I just recently binge watched it like last week from start to finish. I love Western movies. I grew up on Western movies with my dad. My dad passed away when I was 18. It's characters like John Dutton in the show that makes me think of my dad, because my dad had a mind just like his, and I catch myself having the same mind, but if there is a problem, my dad had a way of mapping it out in his mind, and he would do it, no matter how crazy or against the law it might be. Now, he never killed anyone, but he did do some pretty crazy things, and I have a lot of stories of some crazy stuff that my dad did. But the cast in this show is amazing, and I love every single one of them. We have Kevin Costner, who plays John Dutton, the character who's like just like my dad. Luke Grimes plays Casey Dutton. He was in 50 Shades of Grey, which is totally lame, but he was in American Sniper and The Magnificent Seven, so that totally makes up for the 50 Shades of Grey. I can't stand that movie or those books. Those books were terrible. Anyway, so Kelly Riley plays the amazing Beth Dutton, and I wish I could be Beth Dutton. I wish I could be her. This show is the first time that I've seen her, but she's been actually in a lot of things like Flight, Pride and Prejudice, Sherlock Holmes with Robert Downey Jr., and she has won so many awards for her acting, and it shows. Like, she is an amazing actress. Like, totally respect her and her acting. Like, she's just one of those actors that you could tell she loves her craft and perfects it. Wes Bentley as Jamie Dutton, he played the weird kid in American Beauty where he filmed the page, he filmed the bag blowing in the wind. And he played Seneca Crane in Hunger Games. He's in a few other things. There's Cole Hauser, who plays Rip Wheeler. He is in so many movies. He's in Too Fast, Too Furious, Dazed and Confused, Good Will Hunting, Olympus Has Fallen, A Good Day to Die Hard. Like, so many. And when you see him as Rip Wheeler in the TV show, you're kind of like, you don't even realize it's the same guy. You're like shocked. You're like, what? So Google him, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. Like, you see him from Too Fast, Too Furious, and then you see him as Cole Hauser, or you see him as Rip Wheeler, and you're like, how does this guy go from this to like this. It's just so crazy. It's mind blowing. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's the same guy. We have Ian Bohan. I think that's how you see it. I love him. I'm in love with, I fell in love with him when he was in the Teen Wolf remake on MTV. He was like kind of bad guy, kind of good guy, kind of bad guy, but also a good guy on the Teen Wolf remake. He was in Batman Dark Knight Rises. He was in a lot of TV shows with like a bunch of small roles, and in a lot of movies with a bunch of small roles, but yeah, I still love the guy. So there's a lot of amazing actors and actresses in this show, but those are the ones that I wanted to get across. I'm trying to keep this episode as short as possible because y'all know me. I like to keep my episodes short and to the point, but I'm going to try and cover all 3 seasons, and I decided to do it kind of by character, I guess. But here we go. Y'all know the drill. IMDb describes it as Yellowstone follows the Dutton family, led by John Dutton, who controls the largest contiguous I can't pronounce words these days, ranch in the United States, under constant attack by those it borders, land developers, and Indian reservation, and America's first national park. It is an intense study of violent world far from scrutiny, or from media scrutiny, where land grabs make developers billions and politicians are bought and sold by the world's largest oil and lumber corporations, where drinking water poisoned by fracking wells and unsolved murders are not news. They are consequences of living in the new frontier. It is the best and worst of America seen through the eyes of a family that represents both. And that is written by, I have no idea, I think Amet Kozin. I think it's like a username. I don't, because it's all one word. I don't know. What does that even mean? I have no idea. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's pretty on point, but it sounds like something a CNN news anchor wrote. Like, what? What a way to make it political. It got 8.6 stars out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it has an 80% average on the tomato meter and 81% for the average audience score. And I know I don't like Rotten Tomatoes and their meters, but these ratings are pretty impressive even for Rotten Tomatoes. So now for some fun facts about this show. The Yellowstone Ranch is actually a real ranch. It's the Chief Joseph Ranch, and it is 150 acres. Now, I live on 50 acres with one pasture. I can't imagine 150 acres. It is shot in Utah and Montana. I mean, the show is based out of Montana, but they also shot a lot of it in Utah. There was actually controversy after the casting was announced that Kelsey Azabel Chow would be playing the Native American wife of a main character. Casey Azabel I know I'm saying that part wrong. Is a mixed race Asian American, and she has claimed to be descended from the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians, but the tribe issued a statement saying that they have no record of Chow, nor did they find any evidence that she's a descendant. And as a result of the casting, prominent people in the Native American community called for a boycott, asking for Native American actors to stay away from the Yellowstone project. Chow was seen in Teen Wolf, The Amazing Spider-Man, and One Tree Hill. In the second season, when Neil McDonough is pulled over by the sheriff, he asks if his taillights are out. And this could be, I mean, this is kind of a theory, it's speculation, but it could be he referenced to Walking Tall when Dwayne Johnson pulled him over and busted his lights out. Because remember, he gets pulled over and he's like, "Is my tail light out?" And Dwayne Johnson like takes a bat and like busts it. And he's like, "It is now." But anyways, Walking Tall is actually based off a real sheriff, and even John Wayne created a movie based off that story. So It's completely off subject. But Yellowstone is like the Game of Thrones, but with no incest and in Montana with a bunch of cowboys. That's how I describe it. Like Game of Thrones, backstabbing, murdering, just craziness, but with cowboys and Indians. Well, not just cowboys and Indians. Let's rephrase that. Cowboys, Indians, politicians, land developers, like a whole bunch of other things that causes this show to be insane. It follows the family and the Yellowstone ranch that they own. They are descendants of 19th century Montana settlers. They pretty much own like half of Montana in this show. And the Duntons find themselves in the middle of a tug of war for their land, with land developers who want to break up their land and the native community in Montana that is an Indian reservation. So season 1 covers the introduction of the characters and their hard past. The father is John Dutton. Jamie Dutton, who is played by Wes Bentley, who is a lawyer and does not fit in with the ranchers or his own family for that matter. Beth Dutton, played by Kelly Riley, is the one and only Dutton's sister. I wish I could be like her. At one point in the show, she says that she destroys lives for a living, and oh boy, is she good at it. She's the type that is always one step ahead, and right when you think you beat her, she does something that puts you back in your place just to realize you never beat her in the first place. Casey, played by Luke Grimes, is the son that John Dutton wants to run everything and take over when John Dutton is gone. But he kind of resents his father, and he lives with his Native American wife, Monica, and their son on the reservation. The same reservation that's trying to take his father out. Season 1 is about Yellowstone Ranch fighting the Broken Rock Reservation, as the people on the reservation believe boundaries should be put in place. They feel they still own the rights to Dutton's land. The battle starts right away in episode 1 when John's son Lee is murdered by a Broken Rock resident. Thomas Rainwater becomes the new chief of the Broken Rock Reservation. Dan Jenkins is a developer who wants to start new projects on Dutton's land. So while this is happening, Dan Jenkins is trying to either steal or seize amount or most of Dutton's land for development purposes. Beth gives herself the task of ruining Dan Jenkins' life while fighting her own demons. Jamie and Beth hate each other and constantly making trouble for John Dutton, who's trying to keep his land, constantly having to put out their fires that they create, just trying to get back at one another. Casey is forced to do things for his father that he does not want to do, and for this reason, he resents his father in the first place and kind of putting him in a downward spiral. Now there's Rip Wheeler. He's John Dutton's right-hand man, and he has been loyal since day one. Can't stand most of John's kids, but he loves him some Beth. He's willing to do anything and everything to protect the family and the land. So, without any spoilers, that's kind of rough cliff notes of what happens. It is a lot crazier than that. There's a lot of twists and turns and a lot of craziness in between those words, in between what I just told you. So make sure you watch it for yourself. Now, season 2, pretty much a lot has stayed the same. Some of the small characters in the show get more character development, and you see more backstories of why this person hates this person, or why this person is the way he is, or the way she is. And then even though Thomas Rainwater of the Broken Rock Reservation announced that he has plans to open a casino, and Dan Jenkins partners up with Rainwater just to be shut out of the project, they are forced to partner up with John Dutton to fight the Beck brothers, who own a giant casino and is not happy that there could be another casino in town. Now, the Beck brothers kind of use John Dutton as a way to retaliate against Dan Jenkins and Chief Rainwater, but he doesn't fall for it because he's smart. He's like my dad. He's like, I know what's going on here, and I'm not falling for it. Casey is made livestock agent due to something that happens to his wife. She decides to distance herself and her son from Casey. Jamie Dutton decides to run for Attorney General of Montana. His own blood, the Dutton family, does not trust Jamie as far as they could throw him. Beth Dutton, she gets it she gets it bad. Like, she gets it rough this season, and she messed with the Beck brothers. I mean, all the Duttons messed with the Beck brothers, especially John and Beth, and they retaliate against her and want to deliver a message to John Dutton because the Beck brothers make it a point to take out everything that John Dutton loves. Like I said, this is the part where it shows pretty bad violence, especially if you are weak. Not weak, that's a really bad wording. If you are not triggered, but I guess emotionally distraught when you see a man abusing a woman, like this part it's kind of rough. It's really hard to watch. But at the same time, Beth is a total badass. Excuse my language, but like, I had to say it. Rip comes to the rescue just in time. And throughout season 2, Rip actually gets pushed to the side by the family and by John Dutton, and it really makes Beth upset because, like, she has a thing for Rip, and Rip has a thing for Beth. So he just gets kind of pushed to the side because John Dutton has this idea in his head that his son Casey's the one that's going to be to take over, even though Casey doesn't really want to. And so you get to know the backstory of Rip and how he became John's right-hand man or the family muscle. And at the end of the season, he saves Beth and does something for the family that just blows everybody away. And John Dutton does something to repay him. And it's kind of like an emotional scene. It's like an emotional war. You're just like, oh my gosh, he totally deserves that. Yes. Finally, he gets the recognition he deserves. Like, yes. But anyways, by the end of the season, the Beck brothers take it too far, causing John Dutton and Chief Rainwater to combine forces. Now, I'm not going to say what. You have to watch it. This season was insane. A lot of violence in this one. Some pretty tough scenes to watch, but if you can power through it, it's such an amazing show. So season 3 is just as intense. I will not be talking spoilers, but it is so good. So some of the threats of the Dutton family, they no longer have to worry about, but they have a new threat, and the state of Montana is one of them. Market Equities has their eye on Dutton land and wants as much as they can get. They get with the state of Montana to get it. The fight to either have John Dutton sell the ranch or lose it is a battle that John Dutton is like, it's one of those things where you either lose it or you sell it. He doesn't want to do either one. Beth doesn't want to. They just don't want to do either one. So this whole season is about them fighting it. John is getting tired of fighting and enjoys having to camp far out on his land where he gets no service. But things are brewing while he is unreachable. When he's forced to go back to reality, he has to attend a joint land rights meeting with Governor Perry, Beth, Jamie, Chief Rainwater, and Market Equities. Jamie kind of throws a bomb, okay? He kind of throws a bomb, and it makes them not like him even more. Casey surprisingly becomes the cool, calm, and collected one. The townspeople love him and his style of leadership, and he took down some pretty troublesome folk dealing with cattle being stolen or harmed. They actually want him to run for governor. Beth, after what happened to her in season 2, you would think she would cool it and not ruffle up any more feathers, but no, that is not her style, and Beth is my queen. Beth gets completely blindsided by Jamie. I'm not going to say what, because you need to watch it. Beth has been ruffling up those feathers for Market Equities all season long. So, what's the war over this time? Market Equities in season 3 wants to use the Dunton land for an airport. Making it an airport makes it the state of Montana's problem as well. Chief Rainwater is not happy about this. He's not happy about this airport business because it affects the reservation, not just the Duttons. He has the fiery Angela Blue Thunder, and she is thunder for a reason. She is an I can't say that. Why? I cannot pronounce words. I need to breathe. I need to chill. I'm trying to get this done as fast as possible because it's actually a lot. She is an indigenous woman with a law degree. And she is not happy with the way that Rainwater is going. That Rainwater wants to join forces with John Dunton. And she gives a speech on about how the government creates rules for the indigenous people. I know I'm saying that wrong. I just can't pronounce words right now. And then changes the rules, making it impossible for the indigenous people to survive. And it's 100% true. They're spitting facts on this show, by the way. You are left with something that happens at the very end of season 3 that is such a cliffhanger that I am hanging on to the cliff by my fingertips, and I can't wait for season 4 in November because I have to know what happened. What is the result of what happened at the end of season 3? It is so insane, and I want to scream about it, but I want y'all to see it. I don't want to take the jaw-dropping moment away from you. I love those jaw-dropping moments, and I hate it when I see spoilers. Just gets on my nerves, man. Now, it is in the works and in production for a Yellowstone prequel that is being filmed here in Texas, not that far from me. The cast is going to be awesome, and with the likes of Sam Elliott, Tim McGraw, and Faith Hill. My newsfeed on Facebook is people taking pictures of Sam Elliott here. It's in a small town in Texas, and it's he's in Tombstone all over again. It's freaking awesome. Am I going to stalk him? Maybe. No, I'm not really. It's actually too far of a drive, so no, I'm not going to. I just want him to talk to me. I just want him to say my name in that sexy voice that he has and give me that smile. Sam Elliott literally can read the dictionary and it would sound so awesome. And guys admit it too, okay? I'm not just fangirling or whatever. Guys admit that Sam Elliott has this this voice that just would probably if he walked up to a dude and was like, "Hey, are you talking to my girl?" The dude would probably poop his pants. Hands down. Anyways, that includes my podcast episode. If you have found value in my show, please leave a review or just tell another friend about my podcast. If you would like to help support my podcast, you can go to my Ko-fi page. Any donation you leave gives you access to my Discord server. Thank you, Kevin, for being my only subscriber right now. I also made a really cool Nerd in Texas phone wallpaper. I'm going to be making more, so please check that out. It kind of has a Yellowstone feel to it. I made it very country. If you could and I'm throwing a lot of things at you right now. I actually really messed up my notes for this podcast because I had it all written up and then something had to happen to my computer where it completely got deleted. So I had to write it up all over again. Life, man. Anyways, if you could like, subscribe, follow whatever platform you are listening on, it makes a huge difference for us little tiny podcasters. Yeah, it really does. But I hope you'll have a great weekend and stay nerdy, my friends.